Hi, and great to see you here at Politico's Competitive Europe Summit. My name's Catherine Carlson. I'm a financial regulation reporter here at Politico. So, funding Europe's future, that's no small task. The EU is currently scrambling to drum up extra capital to fund the many challenges it faces, whether that's climate change, technological shifts, or boosting the bloc's defense capabilities. The Draghi report estimates that the EU will need an additional 750 to 800 billion per year by 2030. And as we've just heard in the previous panel, public finances are tight, and any negotiations over how much is spent and on what look set to be incredibly contentious. The financing, in large part, needs to come from elsewhere. Enter the Commission's new plan, the Savings and Investments Union. It's a strategy to get everyday citizens who normally keep their money parked in bank accounts investing, generating a bulk of extra investment money in the EU. That will require a cultural shift, prodding people used to savings accounts and state pensions into becoming more familiar with the world of private investment, and a technical one, fixing up the EU's financial plumbing to make sure that investment money can flow effectively across the EU instead of being trapped in 27 fragmented markets. Now, the Commission has a long list of initiatives it will pursue for those goals, including reforms to private pensions, a new simple investment account for the everyday citizen. The ambition is there, but there's a long way to go, and there are still questions ahead. Will governments get on board with the initiatives and make the necessary compromises? Are these reforms enough to stimulate investment activity? And can the EU get savers to care enough to invest their own money? Well, we'll kick it off with a short interview, and then we'll open the discussion up to a wider panel. So first, let me give a very warm hand to welcome Gelsomina Vigliotti, Vice President at the European Investment Bank. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Now, let's talk about the sort of overall investment picture in the EU and the challenges that we're facing. What's the EIB doing in this area? And I mean, is the problem as bad as people say?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Catherine, and good morning to everyone. I'm particularly glad to be here to talk about the role of the European Investment Bank Group with respect to the savings and investment strategy. I guess that you all know about the EIB. This is the financial arm of the European Union. It's a bank. The shareholders of the EIB are the 27 countries. We have 70 years of history, and we like to say that we are a bridge institution between the savings, the public and private savings, and the real economy. And coming to the Draghi report and the solution, the diagnosis of the problem is already clear. We know also what is the cure and how we have to leverage resources. And I think that one of the major contributions of the EIB group through the years, and especially now, is that to leverage public resources. We, rely very much also on the EU budget guarantee, and this allows us to, to leverage a lot of our resources and to serve countries, private sector, public sector, and in particular with the European Investment Fund, which is part of the group and is a fund of funds where also the European Commission participates. It has been an extremely relevant institution to create and nurture financial ecosystem, in particular for venture capital throughout Europe. And we know that in Europe there is quite a diversified financial situation, and there are countries where capital markets are much more developed, countries where this is less developed, and we have strategies for all these countries. Where there are already capital markets which are very well developed, we can actually try to form those champions, funds champions, which can provide large tickets to European companies and to avoid what we know that large and good startups that leave Europe when they are at time of grow or scale up, because there aren't sufficient resources in Europe. But also we have other countries where capital markets are not so much developed, and there the presence of an institution like, for instance, the European Investment Fund is relevant to create funds, local domestic funds, which can be created that can develop and sustain the development of the financial market. So, it's quite a large palette of instruments through which we can serve the real economy.
Yeah, thank you. And so obviously you have the practical experience of being one of the institutions that's really investing on the ground in Europe. Is the diagnosis as bad as people say? I mean, do you really experience fragmentation across different countries and difficulty having capital flowing around the EU? Do we need to see changes here?
I mean, to say that this is not true, I don't think that we can say, because actually there are fragmentation, there are difficulties in creating maybe pan-European instruments. And actually what we try to do is actually also to create some pan-European instruments. Like, for instance, at the EIB, we were the first back in 2007 to issue green bonds. We issued the first green bonds. Actually, we are issuing in different currencies. And actually, we are also providing some standards in these green bonds so that, there could be some standards which can be shared among different operators on the market, so that this could be also instrument which can be channeled. We issued also digital bonds through the blockchain's procedure, and this is also a contribution to develop markets, to participate with the private sector to develop such type of instruments. This is just 2 examples, but also, the EIB, I think, is the first institution to use venture debt. We like to call it patient capital. We know that there are many startups that cannot go to a bank providing a collateral for a loan. So we bet as EIB in the ability of this startup to develop. So we can provide them lending to a long maturities or without the maturities. Betting on the success of this institution and waiting for it to make profits and to pay back our debt. So on this, I think that we developed also a strong partnership with the Commission, for instance, to the European Innovation Council. Also we are an advisor to the European Innovation Council, and providing, also support to the startup that they want to actually go to the market. And what we realize now is that we need to have instruments for all the stages of the life of a company, because the financial instruments, which is necessary when you are at the early stage, is different when you want to exit, when you want to merge or to buy a new company. So what we are doing, we are developing. We have already many of the instruments, but to be sure that we can address all the needs. And actually, we launched an initiative which is called TechU, because actually we want to accompany all the firms during their life cycles, and also to offer a service in terms of exchange of information. So on our web, we have information. We have a platform where there are information for getting resources. And we also received very well the message that we have to be fast, simple, and simple. Mm-hmm. And actually, I think that this is something that Europe needs, and so we are trying also to address these 3 components, to be very fast. Not very fast, because in the end we manage public resources, so we have to be very careful on how we manage public resources. But actually, to avoid gold plating, to avoid long procedures, and also to have a very colloquial relationship with investors.
Yeah. Well, so while we're talking about fast and simple, there's one financial practice that the Commission really wants to boost the use of in the EU, which is securitization. For those of you who don't know, this is the repackaging and reselling of debt in different tranches. Some have presented this as a game changer to boosting investment in the EU. Others have said that reforming the practice to make it simpler, make the regulatory treatment easier, won't make that much of a difference to the overall financial picture. But the EIB is one of the institutions that's really engaged in securitization. So, is this, from your practical experience, is this a game changer?
Yes, absolutely. In particular, the European Investment Fund, I think that has been the only European institution continuing to to provide securitization products on the market through synthetic securitization or cash securitization. And actually, we helped to create the market of these for securitization in many of the Eastern European countries and to further contribute to the development of these in all the countries. Actually, we use guarantee and securitization. Actually, there is a difference in dealing with pure guarantee or through securitization. And what is very useful, and I think that the Commission is doing a great job in simplifying the due diligence so that it can be an instrument available to all. But since I see that the time is running, I forgot to mention a very, actually I said it implicitly, but I want to spell it clearly, is the initiative that there is already an important initiative in Europe, which is the European Tech Champion Initiative. This is also, a fund of funds. Why we started that initiative together with other European countries, putting together resources by the EIB and resources from other countries, because of the difficulty in having, companies that develop, grow, and remain in Europe. We realized that also we need funds, private capital fund or private equity funds, whichever is a good size. Good size in order to put relevant tickets of money into the companies where they invest. So we want to have in Europe a champions fund who can have a size of 1 billion so that they can provide large tickets. It was very successful so far. It was managed through the resources of member states and the bank and the European Investment Bank. What we want to do now is to attract private capital. To have this partnership of private and public resources. And also there, I think what is important, and we are working also with the Commission, to have some easier regulatory requirements, lighter legislation, which actually can incentivize the private investors, private sector, to invest in the economy. Actually, it's Europe. It's a wealth continent. We have a large amount of savings, but actually there aren't the right channels to channel savings from the private sector to the real economy. And we have ideas, we have a large number of startups, but we need them to grow. And actually, our role, together with the Commission and the Member State, is to contribute to this development.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your contributions.
Thank you to you.
You've laid out lots of the issues that we'll get into in the next panel. But for now, Gelsomina, thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you.